When you're coming in, you keep your arms as close as possible. So for out, widen your arms out. Basically, you go down. For in, you can come in, then push up there. That's what I'm looking for, okay? Let me place my mat this way to be able to see me clearly. Good. Are we ready? Can we start? So widen it out. 1, in, that's 1. We're doing 10 reps. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Hiyo lazima iguze kifua. Okay, so it's a good chest workout. Number 2, we're going to do some squats. We'll do our squats today in a different methodology. So we're going to do 7 squats, then we hold for 7 seconds. We take it down, down, till 1 squat, 1 second. Are you okay? Are you ready? We start. 7 squats. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going for 5. 1. Twende kazi. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on 3. 1, 2, 3, and hold for 3. 1, 2, 3. We're on 2. 1, 2, and hold. 1, 2. We're going for 1 and hold. 1. Good job. How you feeling? Sawa. The next workout, we're doing something we call a dead man crawl, okay? Tuna interlock mikono, or rather zina overlap piano. Your hands are going to overlap each other, okay? Let me give you a demo. I hope you're able to see me, my full body. I want you to see how my hand movement is going over the other, over the other. So start there. When I'm connecting to hapa, I bring it mbele the other one, then over, 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 then back, 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 then forward, 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 then back. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're counting 1 to 10. All our workouts today we're going to repeat at least 10 reps. Are you ready? Let's get started. There. Let's go. Move forward. Move back. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. You're dragging your legs. Good. Don't step. Drag the legs. Good. Those are 5. Those are 6. Those are 7. Those are 8. Those are 9. And those are 10. How are you feeling? Good workout, eh? Good challenge. Awesome. From there, now this is where I wanted you guys to have either those sliders or chini that can slide. If not, you have your socks on, then you're able to slide on the floor. So we're going to work on the core bundle. You slide in your knees, you get into a push-up position, you give me a push-up. Okay, just 10 count. Look at me. For those who don't have, let me just do without socks for the sake of those who don't have, okay? Let me just do it with my socks. First example, so I'm here. You see how my legs are? Up on Dani, slide back, come back up, okay? All right? So slide back, slide up, slide back, slide up. So when you come up, when you're going down, when you go down rather, when you're on the plank position, we do a push-up. So look, go up, down, push up, push up. Okay, so we're doing 10 reps, only 10 reps. Are you ready? I'm ready. Good. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you okay? 6. Are you okay? 7. 8. 9. 10. Woo! Kanachosha, eh? That's a good one. Relax kidogo. Relax. Just your neck a bit. Just breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Next workout. We're going to the fire hydrant position. I want us to do our glutes and our hamstring at the same time, okay? So now, this is the posture. You're in a fire hydrant position there. These are the fire hydrants, okay? So after we do 20 reps, you're going to stretch the leg back. You're only bending from the knee backwards. Okay, there. And you straighten it out. In and out. We're going to do 20 as well of that. We'll be targeting the hamstring. Are you ready? Let's start. Let's go. 1, 2. If you have the elastic bands, you can put them on your thighs. They'll give you a good resistance, which is good as well. So if you have the bands, tie them there. I believe you're like on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Straighten the leg backwards. Straighten the leg back. Up. Then we fold it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have the ankle weights, also a good advantage for you. 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. We do the same thing to the other leg, okay? We start with the fire hydrant. Are you ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Let me turn this way so you're able to see what I'm doing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, push it, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. From there, straighten up the leg. There, back. Then curl it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me be on this position. Make sure that you're not guessing what I'm doing, but you're able to see exactly what I'm doing. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I hope you're progressing well so far. Are you good? Are you enjoying it? Because I definitely am. Good job. Kutoka hapo, I'm not going to rearrange anything in your house. Still the same way your house is. I'm sure you have a couch or you have a table or a stool next to you. I'm going to use my couches. So you're going to do a reverse crunch. Okay? Using the couch or using a table or even a stool. So put your legs forward. Hapo. So what we are doing is bringing back the knee in. Hapo. There. There. Bring it in. Are we good? You got it? 20 reps. Haraka haraka, sindio? There. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Rest up a bit. You can wipe that sweat off. If you have some water, you can sip kidogo. Sip some water. Someone said I don't give water breaks. So today I'm giving a water break. Alright? From there, our next workout, we're getting into the glute bridge with a reach. Okay? So this is how we'll do it. My legs are bent there, folded my knees. So I'm going to go up, then I tap back. Okay, up, then I tap on the other side. That's what we call a glute bridge and a reach. You good? So you go up, tap, reach. So, are we good? Can we start? Good job. Let's go. 20 reps. Starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job, push it. 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, the other side, those are 10, good job, you're doing awesome. Now, I'm thinking we make it a little bit more interesting. 40 seconds workout, 10 seconds rest. 40 seconds workout, 10 seconds rest. Okay, so we're starting again with the in and out push-ups. So we're doing 40 seconds. 40 seconds we are active, 10 seconds rest. Are we ready? Are we good? My timer starts now. 40 seconds, let's go. Then in, out widely, then in, out wide, in, out, in. This one we're targeting more on the chest, the tricep muscle. Good, there, out, in. These are 30 seconds and more. In, out, and in. Good job. 10 seconds breather. From there, tunaingia squats plus a hold from the 7 all the way. 10 seconds are up. We're starting. 7 squats. You ready? You ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10 seconds hold. Hold it. 7 seconds, sorry. 6, 7. Good job. Let's go for 6. Breathe. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seconds breather. As you hold it there, breathe. As you hold it there, and stop. 5. 4, 5 seconds. Perfect. 4 to go. 2, 3, 4 and hold. 2, 3 and 4. 3. 1, 2, 3 and hold. 1, 2, 3. Good job. We're going for 2. And hold. Out. Last one. And hold. And out. Woo! 10 seconds breather. How are you feeling? You good? Perfect. From there, we're back to where we're doing the knee to the push-up. Okay? 40 seconds peke yake. I'll have my timer ready. Are we good? Can we start? Good job. And we begin our workout. Those are 30 seconds. Good. And stop. Woo. Breather. 10 seconds. We move on. So we get the dead man crawl for 40 seconds. Are you ready? Timer is up. Are you good? You need to unlock a break. Trust me, push yourself. The cardio endurance I always talk about, the muscle tolerance, this is how we develop it at the same time. As much as in strength, I'm sure you can hack it. 20, 40 seconds starts now. We're here. Good job, push it. Those are 20 seconds down. Those are 30 seconds. And it's a wrap. Good job. I'm loving it. How are you feeling? Hope you got a good set like me. Hi, perfect. We have 3 more workouts to go. Try and get fire hydrant. With the curl, with the hamstring curl, okay? Are we ready? Fire hydrant, 20. This one, tukitime itakuwa ndogo sana. So let's go 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Put the leg back. Up, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Good on. Balance the other leg. Ready? Let's go. 1. Let me put it this way. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Straighten it out. You okay? Out. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There you go. Breathe. I'm sweating, but I'm loving it. You good? Like I said, niliambiwa sipeanangi water break, leo napeana water break. So sip maji kidogo, tuendelee. You good? Very good. Perfect. From there, then get the chair reverse, crunches. 20 reps. We're almost wrapping up. We're almost done. Let's go. 1, 2. Endelea. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah. How you feeling? Talk to me. Are we good? Last workout. Glute bridge with a reach. Yeah. Glute bridge reaches. Are we good? Let's start. 1, we're doing 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome workout. I'm proud of you. Keep doing it. Never quit. It's about progress. It's not about perfection. We're stretching. We're here. Breathe. Good. Do hapo. Don't ziangalie juu. Breathe. Good. The other leg there. Good. We're here. Nice. Stretch back. Up. Good. The other side. There. Perfect. So thank you so much for staying tuned to NTV Tizi Nyumbani. We hope soon and very soon, when we get a good hold of Corona, we can go back to NTV Tizi Mtaani. I'm sure you all miss it as well, eh? Twist your neck round, the other side. Breathe in, breathe out. Out. Breathe in. Out. Last one. Out. Thank you so much for staying tuned to NTV. God bless you and have yourself a good day. Bye.
Pishi by Nation Media Group brings you Celebrity Home Chef. This is a chance to nominate your favorite celebrity to get in the kitchen and showcase their cooking skills on TV. Simply head on to @Pishi254 on social media. Comment by tagging your favorite celebrity, and guess what? We might just make it happen. Tune in to NTV every Friday to catch the celebrity in action.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Pata smartphone mpya kuanzia 20 bob daily pekee ukilipa mdogo mdogo. Weka down payment ya 1000. Lipa kuanzia 20 bob daily kwa miezi 9. Piga star 544 hash kuona kama unafaulu kupata 4G Neon Ray Pro. Si hapo Safaricom ni yako kabisa.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
1, wake up, wake up.
1, 2, 3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smile about.
This is NTV.
Hello there, good morning and a warm welcome to your world this Friday, the 7th day of August. I'm Joseph Warungu and I'm looking forward to spending the next couple of hours with you as we enter the world of make-believe, that's cinema. Roll camera, rolling. Roll sound, rolling. And action. But there's no action. The film industry and the business of production has ground to a halt or slowed down terribly. What's going on? Well, this morning we'll look at how COVID-19 has affected the film industry.
In the film industry, some revelations that have been coming to the fore sound like something right out of a movie, a bad one at that.
We turn on the camera and the microphones and shine the light on the movie industry. But even as the film sector struggles in many countries, it's business as usual in Uruguay. We find out why. With circuses closed down, clowns decide to drive out and entertain locals for a few coins. This morning, we're asking what movies or programs have you been watching and why did you choose those particular ones? Share with us on our hashtag #NewNormal. But before that, let's look at the impact of COVID-19 around the world, starting with the global numbers. As at this moment, 18,975,254 people have been confirmed positive for COVID-19 around the world. Out of these, 12,163,754 have recovered, while 711,220 people have sadly passed on as a result of the disease. And coming to the country in Africa with some of the highest numbers, this is South Africa, 538,184 people so far confirmed positive, and out of these, 387,316 have recovered, while sadly in South Africa they've lost 9,604 people. Moving closer home to our own country, Kenya, this is the situation as we know it. 24,411 people confirmed positive. Out of these, 10,444 have recovered, while in Kenya, unfortunately, we've lost 399 people. Elsewhere in the Eastern African region, our neighbors Uganda, these are their statistics. 1,223 people have been confirmed positive for COVID-19. 1,102 have recovered, while 5 people in Uganda have passed on as a result of the disease. In Somalia, these are the numbers: 3,227 people confirmed positive. 1,728 have recovered. 93 people have passed on in Somalia. And in Rwanda, this is the situation there. We've got 2,111 people confirmed positive. 1,258 have recovered. 5 people, just like in the case in Uganda, have passed on as a result of the disease. Burundi, this is the situation. 395 people confirmed positive, 304 have so far recovered, and 1 person has passed on. So that's the situation in East Africa, around Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, etc., and also from around the world. Now, after fighters from the Boko Haram jihadist group killed at least 17 people in an attack on a camp for displaced people in northern Cameroon, residents say they live in fear and hope security can be boosted. Vish Yatahad, the mayor of Mozogo, noted that it's the suicide bombers, he said, because we found 2 unknown bodies among the fatalities. And you know, they are the suicide bombers. The balance sheet is, as you say it with me, 17 people dead and 14 people have been injured. Umaru Abo, a self-defense member, said there is greater fear, really. Whoever lived this sin no longer wants to live here in the village. Why? Because we have the elements of defense, but they are very insufficient. We must therefore add the elements of defense so that we can stay in the village. Umaru Adum, an inhabitant, added, today we cannot sleep. We've lost a lot of families. What we want to ask the army to add elements to the village so that we can get some sleep. Elsewhere, in our stories from Africa and around the world, at a girls' school in Lagos, students who are due to sit exams are back in their classrooms following the partial reopening of schools across the nation on August the 3rd. They're preparing for the West African Examination Council's exams postponed to mid-August due to the coronavirus pandemic. Universities are still closed and classes have not resumed for students in other years.
You know, we've been home for over 5 months now, and we should have been done with the exams since, but because of the whole pandemic, we weren't able to write now. I'm so happy that we are back and we can finally do the exam. It's quite different now, you know, to not able to hug your friends and, you know, do the normal things we usually do before. Now we have to put on face masks and avoid each other, do the social distancing and wash hands regularly, and everything is just different now.
I have 22 students registered for the West African Examination Council examination, and I have 206 that are in school now. From the second week of pandemic in March, we've been doing e-studies learning, both on TV, on television, on radio, even on WhatsApp and Telegram. Lessons have been going on.
That coronavirus is real, so the students are aware of it, so we don't have to complain, because that's the new normal. That we have to do it to remain alive, because nobody wants to die. Yeah.
Well, that's where Kenya is headed when we recover the lost year next year. You see them, all the exceptional work on the big screens. Some even get international recognition. But although they are well-known stars, some of these big names, some of them fly back home to houses locked by landlords, to echoes in their empty fridges, and to tear-soaked pillows. This is the reality in the film industry, where the sins behind the scenes have damaged many and spurred some of them to expose the injustices in the film industry. Anita Nkonge picks up her camera to give us a glimpse of the inaction in the industry, even as the government says it will be taking just that, action.
Prominent Ukrainian businessman Viktor Punchik once said that art, freedom, and creativity would change society faster than politics. In Kenya, however, it seems like a long road to freedom. In the film industry, some revelations that have been coming to the fore sound like something right out of a movie. A bad one, at that. Filmmaker Silas Miami, through social media posts, raised the concerns which he says are the realities in the industry of many suffering in silence, the black and the white of the colorful art that audiences enjoy. Ginger Ink Films and One Fine Day Films are among the implicated in the latest online storm, which was accompanied by the hashtag KE creatives deserve better. Various producers are accused of mismanagement of funds, delay or even non-payment of salaries, physical and sexual abuse, racism, and general inhumane treatment.
I have been in productions. The example I gave on Twitter is with Mary Migwi, and we did a show with her, and none of us got paid. And it's been 5 years now. And this has happened in many productions. Many people have been crying online that they were not paid. I have been part of shows that, now the reason that I could specifically speak on the Mary Migwi issue is because I had the receipts. I have text messages, I have emails that show I was never paid.
Celebrated actress Brenda Wairimu says that her experiences are not as bad as she is among the bigger brands who may not get as mistreated as others. But her journey nonetheless has not been an easy one. Others claim they were victims of contractual fraud and producers who would exploit and demean them, but their desperate situations kept them mum.
When you're being starved, so to speak, your mind is always thinking of where am I going to get my next meal. So when someone else approaches you to do a job, your first instinct would be to say yes, not to question whether they have good ethics or whether they're going to pay you on time. Your first instinct is you need to feed your family, you need to pay your house rent.
As we speak now, the Commission doesn't have any formal complaint. Just the same way you've read in the social media is the same way we have also read in the social media. But we cannot ignore the complaint because it touches on our operational space.
What if the affected individuals do not formally lodge complaints to the Kenya Film Commission, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, or the Office of the Ombudsman?
We may even go ahead and set up a committee to inquire into the matter so that we ascertain what really happened. Because if we want to grow an upright film industry, we do not want to see such negative cases.
Some cast and crew say they have been behind celebrated work on the silver screens locally and abroad, flying the Kenyan flag with the accompanying glamour. But under the shine was a dark reality that they could not meet some of their needs, such as rent. The Kenya Film and Television Professionals Association says it is working with KFC to address the issue. However, the effectiveness of the umbrella bodies in the industry is in question, as many are choking in the grip of cartels.
Creatives need to unionize, and not just unionize for the sake, for the sake of the name, but unionize for the sake of the bargaining power that it comes with.
KFC says that the failure of the industry to put in place strong measures to address such issues has led the government to work on filming guidelines and code of ethics.
It should be within 30 days. We should have this in place because, as I mentioned earlier, associations had developed some of these best practice codes, but implementation has been a challenge. The Commission would like to take up this matter and now enforce it.
CEO of the Kenya Film Classification Board, Ezekiel Mutua, however, had a view that stung many. He took to social media to say he has no sympathy for those he says defy the law with impunity, corrupt the morals of children, and use their talents to promote evil. He went on to add that most Kenyan artists deserve nothing but God's severe judgment.
You're the one who's supposed to be our umbrella. You're the one who's supposed to be making life easier for us, or at least just palatable. So to me, ghetto, stress.
Filmmakers hope that when the lights go off, cameras follow suit, and there is no more action, they will be part of a real-life happy movie, not the horror many have been treated to. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Okay, so welcome to our film set. This morning, we're looking at the impact of COVID-19 on the film industry and also how it's affecting production. And with me for this discussion and for some insights around these issues, I'm joined by an array of guests, some of them well-known faces on our screens, starting here in the studio with Mwaniki Mageria, who's the CEO of Riverwood. We're also joined from our NTV newsroom studio by Lucy Mwangi, who is the producer of Njorowa Uba. If you've seen it, This is her who's responsible for that. And all the way from India, Saksham Shukla, who is a Bollywood actor, who's also going to give us perspectives from that part of the world. And in Uganda, we are joined by Stella Nante, who is an actress and also a screenwriter. And we're also joined this morning by Dr. Zippy Okoth, a filmmaker, director, producer, and also a lecturer. So that's our panel this morning. And the topic is, hey, what's happening to action on set? Now, let me start with you, Mageria. First of all, personally, what's your new normal now? How has life changed for you, even before we go into your hustle?
My new normal is masks.
Right.
Well, basically, and the new normal is home. We actually had to close down this company. We had to close the office, no longer pay the rent on air, had to be cancelled. There was no more revenue from advertising, so that became the normal. Actually, we had to look for new ways to make content and new avenues to get that content out. As much as there was an increase in consumption of content, 30% they say, during this COVID period, there was a reduction of the money to pay for that content.
Okay.
So that's been our new normal. Trying to find new ways of commercializing what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been very difficult. Broadcasters like yourselves, I know, have had a very hard time.
Indeed.
Yeah, because your revenue coming from advertising for more than half.
Okay, so
yeah.
I'll come on to the detail of that. Let me cross the seas, India and everything else, to Saksham Shukla. He's a Bollywood actor known for his roles in Naughty Wedding, which was released in 2019, Baal Baal Bache in 2019, and the upcoming film Pati Patni Aur Wo. Here is a sample of his prowess.
अबे जीजी को किया कर अभी पूरा भी ना भयो भाई जीजे में बड़ी ठरक मच रही है
बेटा सुना है शादी की बहुत जल्दी हो रही तुमको
पंडित ने कही है जो दूल्हा ने शादी से पहले शक्ल देख ली तो दूल्हा ट्यूं बोल जाएगा
हमें रिश्ता मंजूर है
मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा कि तुम उतावले ज्यादा और क्यों की बावले यार
और जाके साथ ही फेरे संपन्न भये भगवान मृत आत्मा को शांति दे ओ पंडित जी क्या बोल रहे हो नीचे दिन में हवन चल रहा था अभी शादी चल रही हैगी
सुबह तुम गई नहीं अभी तक
नहीं गई मैं यही हूँ अगर इसके करीब जाने की कोशिश भी की ना तो घर में भूतिया महाभारत हो जाएगी हाँ
Okay, and now to the man. Welcome. Good morning, Saksham, and welcome to your world.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Good morning to you as well.
Okay, before that clip, I believe it's from the film Pati Patni. What is it all? What's the film all about?
Yeah, it is from Pati Patni Aur Wo, and it's a romantic horror comedy, if I sum up it in a line or a word.
Okay, and now for you personally, how have things changed as a result of COVID-19, even before we go to the industry, at a personal level?
This year, 2020, started off really well for me because I was shooting back to back for 2 of my projects. In the month of March, we were informed that further there is a halt in a shoot for like about 10 to 20 days, 10 to 12 days because of the COVID crisis. But we never knew that this is going to happen. Industry has come, I think industry of any sort, film industry of any sort from around the world is the most badly hit industry. And I guess this is all about. Personally, for me, I'm thankful that I'm blessed that I have my parents there who are there to support me, who are there to hold my back. Because for the past 4 months, I'm not working because there are no shoots. But I don't know how people are surviving. I think they are doing a lot of things to maintain their livelihood.
Okay, Saksham, thank you. We'll stay on the line. We'll come back to you for to explore this further. But first, let's cross also across the border to Uganda. Stella Nante is a screenwriter and high-profile actor in that country, currently starring in the Ugandan hit TV series Honourables. She joins us today live from Uganda. But before we meet her, take a look at her acting skills in this short piece.
She's stable for now, but we'll need to do surgery, and it will cost you quite a bit.
Are you kidding me? I've already done enough for this girl. It was her fault she did not turn off the gas like I had told her to do.
Miss Naigaga, we have had similar cases before, and the law clearly states that when an employee gets injured on duty, it's upon the employer to cater for all the medical bills.
This is pure extortion. She's merely a domestic worker, and I can't pay more than I've already done.
Well, when this matter reaches the labor office, you'll be in serious trouble.
Oh, I don't care. I think we're done here.
Okay, Stella, good morning and welcome to Your World.
Yes, good morning, please. Thank you.
Okay, now, how's Honourables doing?
Well, Honourables is doing great, despite the challenges that we are facing right now. We are carrying on, and we are working, but then also respecting the SOPs in place, like wearing masks, social distancing, and also making sure that we keep everyone safe.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Stay on the line for us because I know a lot has changed in the creative space. We'll come on to the detail of that. But to Lucy Mwangi, the producer of Njorowa Uba and Varshita, she's an exceptional talent in the production industry. Here's a glimpse of her work.
Najua utafanya the right thing.
The right thing as in...
Kama ni bwana wenyewe, hiyo relationship yenye kuna mahali ilikuwa inaenda. And Edna is a good woman. She doesn't deserve bwana mwenye anahanya.
Really?
I mean, uliona bibi yake.
Of course. Ninezaje sawa after ile mtego uliniekea?
Haikuwa mtego.
Joro, I'm pregnant.
Okay, many men will recognize that look in their faces. Lucy, good morning. Welcome to Your World.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Good morning.
Yeah. Very briefly, just before we come into the substance of the discussion, how is your new normal?
My new normal is staying home with 3 school-going children, and I don't know who's going to kill first and basically flee the house. But over and above, I think we are grateful in the sense that we have some work that we are still doing.
What does the house look like? A film set, chaotic, or it's very orderly?
I think it's worse than a film set.
Okay, Lucy, we'll come back to you for more now. Allow me to introduce our next guest. Dr. Zippy Okoth has a rather sad turn of events, but she's overcome that. We'll hear what it's all about. She was due to launch her new movie on the 28th of March and had even tested, the screening venue at Prestige, all ready to go. Then, boom, lockdown came and the movie was shelved. Take a look at her film, Midlife Crisis. Okay, we'll come back onto the trailer in a moment and to Zippy. Now, let me turn to you, Lucy, for a moment, if I may. What has changed in terms of how you're carrying out your productions at the moment? Because I know you're still working, but in a very limited way.
Okay. I think the first thing I would like to say is gratitude in the sense that we still have work, despite the fact that we lost some of the productions that we were working on that got cancelled because of loss of revenues from the broadcasters, rather. But we had some very major delays before we went back into production, and at some point we actually had to stop working as we waited on guidelines on how we were able to go back to our production sets. What I would like to say is we've had to adapt to a new normal where initially we used to work with a certain number of crew members on the set. I've had to have that because we have to stick within the guidelines set out by the ministry where we can't have more than 15 people at any one time. So what that has meant is we are working with less people, but the amount of work is still the same. So you find the crew now have to double up, and that has considerably slowed us in terms of output. So there's so many things that we've had to adapt to. And slowly, like in the past few months, we've sort of come to find a formula or a process that is working, but it's still a new thing that we are trying to understand and live within, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Lucy. I'll come back to ask some more questions around what you've actually been doing. But first, here is that trailer to the film Midlife Crisis.
I don't think I'm ever going to have a baby.
And whose car is that in the driveway? Ka mzee fulani, eh? Kasponyo.
Brayo, maplaya tupu. Akina Deno, ndia matapeli namba moja.
I want to get pregnant today, now.
The doctor is ready to see you. Please follow me.
How do you maintain such a body?
Juice detox. Me imagine it has worked for me. 4 kg. 1 month.
Unajua mpango ya kando ya bwana yako.
Sianza kuniambia hapa mambo ya mwanaume kunijenga.
I'm going to be named head of operations in Africa. But I'm going to create time for all of them.
Sadly, COVID-19 has denied us all that fun. That movie was due for release in March. Let's join the producer and the person behind it. Zippy, good morning and welcome to your world.
Good morning.
That's a lot of fun, but you have not been having fun lately.
No, we have not been having much fun, but despite all that, we are managing. When the COVID was announced, of course, we were so stressed, we didn't know what next. But out of it, we've done some short films. I think me and a few of my friends, we've come together and we've already done like 5 short films. We've already released 2. One was released the other day and one we released beginning of June. So we are finding ways to keep ourselves busy. But money in the pocket is a challenge for most of the filmmakers I'm working with. I can say I'm lucky because I still get some salary from Kenyatta University, but for most of the filmmakers I'm working with, it is hard. It's very hard.
Okay. Thank you, Zippy. Just stay on the line for us. Let me go to India for a moment. Saksham, we've seen the COVID-19 numbers go up incredibly in India. What has that meant, especially for the film industry? What's going on in Bollywood?
So Joseph, as I said before, that film industry of any sort, of any area in the whole world is the most badly hit industry because of this COVID-19 crisis. And if I have to sum it up in 3 words, then, it is raising costs, fear and fatigue. Because some of the work like ad shoots, reality TV shoots or TV serials, they have resumed their shoot because it is easier for them considering the new government guidelines for the shooting. Because according to the new government guidelines for the shooting, you can only shoot inside a studio. No outdoor shoots are allowed, and you have to there has to be a cut in the percentage of the crew to about 33%. The whole environment in the shoot, in the location, is wrapped up in a PPE kit, which already makes which makes this physical strain an already strenuous job. So there are people who are financially capable of handling themselves For example, I thank God that I consider myself blessed that I have parents who support me in these hard times. But there are people who have to maintain their livelihood, who are doing anything and are taking a risky step to getting back to the film set, whether it be in a PPE kit or not. So yeah, their lives are at stake. Who the people who are currently working on a film set? Yeah, they are.
So when you have a film that has got exterior scenes, which means you have to film out on the streets, outside of the studio, it's impossible to portray that kind of thing in a film if you can only film indoors or in a lot.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is why films, the shoot of films and the shoot of films and web series haven't started yet because you know the filmmaking there is a different kind of filmmaking which is there in when you make a film or a web series. But considering reality shows or ad shoots, these kind of shoots can be shot inside a studio, and that is why the government hasn't allowed to shoot outdoors yet. So yeah, there have been constraints, a lot of constraints in shooting.
Okay, Saksham, thank you. We'll come back to you in a moment. Stella, to you in Uganda, I know that the environment there has changed a lot for creative people, both in music and in film production. Can you tell us about some of these changes and how they're affecting you guys?
Yeah, there have been a couple of changes, despite the fact that we were affected by COVID-19, which brought along lockdown and curfew, and there were businesses that were locked and all that. There were businesses that were put on stop until the government releases them. Now, the question is, there has been changes, of course, away from COVID, because it affected us a big deal. Away from COVID, in Uganda here, there is a Uganda Communications Commission, that is UCC, that released regulations and rules to govern the arts industry, whereby the filmmakers, the musicians, the poets, the comedians, everyone in the arts industry, they have to submit a script to the government, and then the government reads through, and then they give you a permit to perform that particular script, or to perform that particular song, or to go to studio and actually record the song.
So
and it's affecting.
So hang on, Stella. So the government is vetting songs and poetry?
Everything to do with the arts industry. You have to submit your script, and whatever you're going to perform or draw on paper or do in poems and music, you have to submit the script first to the government. They read through, and then they give you a permit, of which the permit is not free. You have to pay for it, and then you perform that particular script. And it's affecting so many musicians, and they're saying that most of them, when they go to studio, they create at that particular moment, like hip-hop artists here in Uganda. When they go to studio, they listen to the beat, and then they create. So how can someone who creates just like that in a second, off the head, write down whatever they're going to think first before they actually think that particular thing? And then also the movie industry. Sometimes changes happen on set. So if you change the script, you are like, they confiscate your equipment, they confiscate your cameras, and there is no way you can fight to get them back. So
Stella, let me understand this. Does it mean that the government of Uganda has got poets and hip-hop artists within them who vet this kind of work?
No. Sadly, there are no musicians.
I mean, we've seen your president rapping once in a while, but that, that doesn't mean that they have.
No, that does not mean they have actually any clue to do with the music and the film industry. Most of these people actually are like office people. They don't even know how the industry works. They have no idea because they have not invested, first things first, they have not invested in the industry themselves. So that means they don't understand it at all and how it works and how these people make their own money and how they fund their projects. They have no idea.
So Stella, how long does it take to get approvals once you submit a script or a song, your lyrics? How long?
Now that's the problem, that's the problem, because you don't know when the government is going to take its time. You just see from an example of getting an ID, you take months and months, just an ID, yeah? How about a script where you're going to hand it over, they have to read through, they have to consult their assistants, they have to create a team, and they sit over the script. They're making all this so serious, yet it wasn't so of a big deal. Yeah?
Okay.
So it's going to take a long period of time, a long period, and it will affect the production, of course.
Thank you, Stella. Stay put for a moment. As we say in Kenya, those things are elephant. These are huge things. Magaria here in the studio. Now looking at your craft and COVID, you've explained how you've had to find different ways of working. What does that actually mean for you as a business?
It means reduced revenues. That's what it means, one of the things. Oh, by the way, you asked me what my new normal is.
Yes.
I'm cooking a lot.
Oh, okay.
I'm eating a lot.
Okay. Cooking is good. I'm not sure about eating. Yes.
That's true. No, but I was trying to keep fit. So basically what that means, we had to cut down on crew.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I think, okay, I work with a very industrious young man. We're business partners, Eugene Bogua, and he's really thought it through and has been able to come up with the ways for us to get into new spaces that were not there before. One of the things that has happened with this COVID time is that those who are on a pay TV platform, those who actually run pay TV channels, those guys actually having a better time than free-to-air broadcasters, because all of us now, we turned now to say, hey, we need to start watching something. So people like Netflix are really, really happy. People like MultiChoice with the DSTV, whatever went up. Unfortunately, though, also because of football, and DSTV really survives on football, the men stopped watching too much, but the ladies all went, because now they're at home. I found that in my house, we've watched a lot more Netflix. Netflix has become like...
That's just for a lot of households.
Yeah, it's become the thing. And I've managed to watch a lot of Nigerian films. It has really been a good time for me as a Riverwood person to look and see what Nollywood is doing. Nollywood has really upped the game. And okay, unfortunately, right now they're not making any films. They're just waiting for it to open up. But from the past 1 year, the kind of movies that they had put into Netflix is really, really exciting. So I'm hoping that they would be opened up for, because here in Kenya, as much as we are having a lot of new standard operating procedures, given by the government, as Lucy said, I'm seeing that we're still creating content to some level. Particularly for pay TV channels. I actually, Lucy, I was called to come and act on Joroya Uber. You see, that's what it has made me. I'm a producer and a distributor, but now I'm having to look for different things. So I went and acted. I was acting as a bishop.
Okay,
so I'm looking for new ways of making money now.
We'll ask you for your prayers towards the end of the show. Lucy, was he any good on the show, this man?
I need him to come back, so I have to be nice.
Okay. Now, Lucy, at a practical level, because I know you're filming, actually, even as we spoke yesterday, you are out on location. What do the new Ministry of Health regulations mean at a practical level when you take out a TV film crew on the ground to film? What do you have to follow?
Okay. Like I said, the first thing I had to do was cut on the number of people on the set in terms of crew. So I'm working with a smaller team, which is not necessarily a good thing, because it means there's half of my team which is out of work.
Can you give us numbers? What sort of numbers?
Okay, initially on a normal set I will have about 27 people. But now I have to cut down to about 15. And then there are days when I have to even work with a leaner crew, because I'm bringing in like a bigger number of extras. So to try and keep within the numbers, I have to work with even a smaller crew. And then we find that everyone has to double up. And what that has meant, like I had mentioned, was a delay in terms of output. Because on a production set, we have a certain target of page count that we have to achieve by the end of the day. So when everyone has to double up on different roles, it means there's stuff that gets neglected, or we are working at a much slower pace. So in terms of output, I'm working less hours, again because of curfew, but my output is much less, and the production costs remains the same, if not more.
Okay.
So that is one of the things. But in terms of the ministry guidelines, what I had to do before we even started filming was, in addition to the licenses that we normally have to get from KFCB, I had to get a letter from CCK to take to the commandant of Nairobi County to get approvals for the crew now to be able to congregate and film. So with that letter, I've had to go to the OCS of the area that I film within, and then make them aware that I'll have this team on the road, because by the nature of the show that we are doing, Njorowa Uber, it's the story of an Uber driver. So we are very much on the roads for the most part of the production. So I'll alert the OCS that we will have this team, and it might look like a crowd, but it's actually a filming crew, and we have these permissions from KFCB, we have these permissions from the county, and we have these permissions from the commandant, and we have this letter from CCK. So kindly allow for us to continue with what we are doing.
I know we're in really difficult times, but that's a lot of bureaucracy.
That's a lot of bureaucracy, Joseph. I'm not, to be quite honest, but even in addition to that, we have the guidelines from the ministry that we have to adhere to, where the crew, the cast, every time they're on set, we have to wear the PPEs, we have to constantly have the sanitizers in the crew van, or basically where the crew is filming, there's sanitizer. In terms of meals, where initially we would have, I mean, the 1 hour meal time was a place for guys to have their meals, sit and socialize. Now we are forced to pack food and put them in disposable containers, and people will eat as they social distance. And again, those are additional costs to the production, whereby our production budget has largely remained the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lucy, thank you for that. Let me go back to India. Now, Saksham, are people finding different innovative ways to continue creating content in these difficult times? Hi, Saksham, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm not able to hear you, Joseph.
Oh, okay. Sorry. India is so far away, and my sound is taking a few.
Yeah.
What I was asking is, are people there? Are people finding different ways to work around the situation, being a bit more innovative to cope with the very difficult situation we're in at the moment?
I don't think people are finding innovative ways, but yeah, they are taking precautions to at least take care of the lives of the people who are working on sets. There has been a constant sanitization, and wearing the mask is mandatory. Also, yeah, people who are coming from far off locations, so their production houses are making arrangements for them to stay there so that they do not spread if they encounter any sort of virus. And most of the members, apart from actors, they have to be in a PPE kit. Whether they are makeup people or there are assistant directors or the crew members, everyone has to work in a PPE kit, which is very difficult because it makes people are feeling hot, claustrophobic, and they get tired very easily. Obviously, their performance get hampered. But I don't know about the innovative ways, but yeah, people are production houses and people are taking care of people's lives. Yeah.
So as we stand at the moment with your film, Pati Patni Arwo, when do you launch that?
It was launched on 10th of June, 2020 on an OTT called MX Player.
Okay, so what else are you looking forward to now? Are you working at the moment as we speak? I know you said you rely on your parents, but are you working as an actor?
Not right now. I am giving auditions, yes. Actually, I'm not in Bombay right now because it is currently the situation of Bombay is not as because it's raining heavily there. It's raining gods there, and right now film industry is not functioning to its utmost level because rains they stop work, they halt work every year. Right now, I am at my hometown with my parents, and yeah, I do give auditions, obviously on Zoom and a self-test maybe. But yeah, I'm not currently working on myself, working out twice a day right now. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. That's a new one. We've had Zoom for everything, but auditions via Zoom. We've had job interviews, but
Yeah.
Saksham Shukla, thank you thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best with everything in India.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you.
Okay, good day. Now let's move over to Stella. So how are people in the creative industry in Uganda coping amidst all these new regulations and also COVID-19?
Well, we are all trying our best. We are doing what we can to make sure we keep producing content, to keep strong, that we are going to go through this any time. It will have to come to pass, and then we continue with our lives. And the good thing is there is a lot of young people who have passion for film, and there are people who come together and they're like, okay, we are going to make sure we continue producing content no matter what. They have burning passion, and they're willing to go extra miles. Whatever it is, the challenges, they are really, really ready to face them. So we are trying our best, and we are shooting, actually. So some people are doing projects, but at the end of the day, they respect the standard operation procedures, and that's the most important thing, that everyone has to be safe. I mean, it's, us creating the content.
And in terms of the new regulations from the Uganda Communications Commission, does that mean that when you're working on a script or even a song, you must avoid critical things? You cannot tell the story as you want to tell it?
Yeah, the problem is the people in society, the filmmakers, we act what is in society. The arts industry is a mirror of whatever is happening in society. So if we are to address the societal issues like corruption, the diseases, the unemployment, the issues affect the crime rate in Uganda, and the cultural things that we are having in Uganda here. So the arts is a mirror of the whole society, what the society is going through, how the society works, how it thinks, the people who live in that particular society. So that makes it a little bit hard to portray, because you have to be sensitive, you have to be careful on which things you want to show the society. You want to show the certain people that this group of people are doing this. So you have to be careful on what you choose to actually talk about or act.
Which means, as an artist, when you're using that mirror, you can only use a cracked mirror, not a proper mirror.
And just use a piece of it, and that's very bad, because we want to show everything, almost everything, to help, of course, grow the nation, to help us become better versions of ourselves, and not to attack anyone. We are just trying to be creative and maybe show what Uganda is all about and how we can appreciate our own country. But that has been put on a limit, because you have to be careful.
And maybe just to be clear, a lot of these restrictions are to do with there is a forthcoming general election soon.
Yes, please. Yes, the scientific elections are coming soon, very, very soon. Okay. And the people have to be careful on what they release and perform.
Okay, Stella Nanti, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Uganda. Wishing you a really good day and stay safe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, now we've kept Zippy waiting. Good morning again. Are you still there with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I kept you last because your story is quite a story. Now, March the 28th, you are preparing to launch this movie, which promises to be a really good movie from the clip that we saw, Midlife Crisis, and then COVID happened. Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, on March 28th, we were planning to launch my debut feature film. I've done docus and, this commission docus a lot of times, but this was my very first feature film. So I really put in a lot in it. So the date was 28th of March, just a week before the James Bond movie. And we had venues booked, we had sponsors coming in like Nobile Wines, people who were ready to help us through Vivoware. And it was going to be grand, let me just tell you. Our cast and our friends had their clothes done for the red carpet. Then on 14th, we just had an announcement. And I think from 17th to around 23rd, I was in total denial. I was like, this is just another flu. It will just end, and then we'll still have our launch by 28th. But as things went by, the reality struck me. And when my crew and cast were telling me, let's just postpone, I was like, no, we'll just go on. And I think it hit me so bad because for me, like, I mean, the producer is the one who puts much of their input in it because it's an independent film. So being my very first and having wanted to do this, I had planned for this for almost 3 years. I put in so much, let me say, my mind, my soul, my money, my everything. And so for all this to just crash, just 2 weeks, that's like you've booked everything, you've paid for everything. For me, it was like the world is over. I didn't know where to start. But then I think a month later, I had to actually talk to someone to get over this. A month later, my friends came together and we decided, let's do something. They know I act, I direct, I produce, and I think I get my therapy from the stage.
Just before that, Zippy, what impact at a personal level did this news of your entire 3 years of physical, emotional, financial, every single investment has actually just, been pushed aside? What impact did that have on you as a person?
As a person, for a moment, I think I had my parents' words on my ears that this industry is broke, you will be broke, because for me, I have studied theater arts. And when I was studying it, my parents told me, you want to be like a Torongongo, you should be a lawyer and stuff. So for a moment, I think I had their words in my ears telling me that industry is crap. That industry will not get you anything. And it crushed me. It crushed me so much. I think what helped me come up is just talking to people who've been there in through business and even not necessarily the film industry. But for me, I don't want to say I went into depression, but it was something like that. It was something like that, yeah.
And then you decided...
And being a mother...
But you decided that you decided that will not put you down. You actually picked up your camera again.
Yeah, because for me, it was a way of therapy because I have been through depression before and because of, other matters, but now it was because of something that I so deeply love. I love the performing arts. I think my other name could have been theater or film. So this one was hitting me like I am hurting myself, So when this happened, my friends, they know the stage is my medicine. And so since we couldn't go perform at the stage, they said, let's do a film about this same story. And we scripted it and we shot it. I was the main actress and they were producing, directing, Abumelita Ishmael, and Isaiah Evans. I think all these people came together just to see this happen. And my friend Suki Wanza was like, come. She acted the part of the council, to represent all these counselors I talked to, like someone like CP also helped talk to me as a life coach. And I think it gave me a wake-up call. For the first time after speaking to CP, I realized it's not just me who's suffering.
Okay.
When you're on cocoon and thinking that this is happening to me, my world is crashing, my account is empty, then you realize it's not only me. This is truly a global problem and everyone else is suffering. I think it made me feel I can come up again.
Okay, thank you, Zippy. Stay on the line for us. Margeria was listening to you intently to that story. When you listened to that, what was going on through your mind listening to Zippy?
It's a real horror. It's a real horror. You talked about it when you in that clip. It's a real horror story when when someone has to go through that kind of pain, because I understand how much, Zippy really gets into her work. I'm a follower of her work, and she, any producer puts, the work that they put out is them. It's a part of them. It's a soul, your soul is in it. It's a piece of art. So when that has been put aside, you saw even at the beginning of the clip, the different actors who've put the acting into something, and they cannot be paid now because there's no money circulating. So it really is a very crushing thing, and I'm glad that she got some therapeutic help. And I would urge that people actually talk to one another. I remember when all my shows were off air, and I sat there and I'd have to wake up 5 a.m. and join the church group to pray together, because it was blowing my mind up. I'm like, how do I start paying bills? I have no revenue. So it was a very, very tough time, very dark time. And probably that's why now we came up with, I don't know if you've watched concert, in fact, concert Nyumbani played here. And that was the idea. The idea was, let's get out of this dark time, this really difficult time, and let's use art to lift ourselves up and get to a platform of at least a mental, semblance of normalcy as we move forward. Because we have to beat COVID. COVID is here. It seems here to stay. We have to find a way of beating it, as by living through it in a very positive way.
And for you, Lucy, as a producer who has to live this reality, how do you keep your mental health on point when you're under so much pressure?
I agree with Margeria and ZP, because when they were both speaking, I could connect on a very personal level. Because when we say for us, art is life, whatever it is that we are doing, we open up ourselves and we allow ourselves to be so vulnerable, and that vulnerability, we put it in our work. So there's a lot of ownership in everything that we are doing. So when it gets to a level where we can't, for whatever reason, be able to do that or follow through with what we are doing, it can crush you mentally, and it takes everything from you. So I remember when we had to take a production break, and for a long time, like 2 months, we didn't know whether we'll be going back into production or even whether we'd have work. And my actors and crew would reach out to me and say, Lucy, whatever it is we need to do to get back to production, we will come, just give us bus fare, but we need to get out of the space that we are in, because this staying home and not having an outlet will finish us before the virus does. And I was a bit hesitant, because just by the nature of the production and the set and how we work, we are in very close proximity. I didn't want to have the responsibility of worrying about people getting infected. And there was that hesitation, and people said, just show me where I need to sign. I'll indemnify I just need to get back to set. That was the rallying call. And I think being in a space with people who feel the same way that I do sort of became a therapy and an outlet, and getting people who have the same passion for the work that we are doing and ready to give up and do everything to just get in a space where we are creating. I mean, that makes everything more bearable in a sense.
And it's a big responsibility, and I'm speaking now also as a producer with my own show here on NTV, and you know that you have a responsibility for a crew that is out there waiting for work, calling you every other day. When can we get together? Or sometimes, payments are delayed. It's a big burden on your shoulder, Lucy.
It is, yeah. I totally agree, Joseph. Okay. It's a huge responsibility.
Okay. Lucy, thank you very much indeed. Now we'll take a short break. We'll be right back with more on the film industry in your world.
This week on The Trend,
they telling me to stop. Every time we step up on the scene, we make it pop. Yeah, I miss you, Ezzy.
buy me armor. Oh yeah, can you give me dollar? I wanna be your baby mama.
With DJ on the ones and twos.
I can see you looking at me.
All this and more only on The Trend right here on NTV.
Did you know there's a laundry bar soap that can help save you time, water, and money? You save by not having to use multiple products. And you only rinse once. For a laundry soap that can help save you time, water, and money, try Whitewash Extra. Brand power, helping you buy better.
Credit to you if you stay at home. If you must shop online, use your NCBA credit card. Stay home. Stay safe. Ndovu flours are fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide wholesome goodness for the whole family. Ndovu all-purpose flour makes the most delicious chapatis, mandazis and all other pastries. Ndovu is readily available at your nearest shop. Ndovu Tosha. Get free access to digital learning today. For primary and secondary students, one can now access learning and revision materials that has been approved by KICD. Dial *291# and subscribe to Safaricom Digital Learning and Shupavu 291 today. Tufungue njia, elimu iendelee.
This week on Tuzidi na Hustle.
Kumbuka kwanza venye nilipewa hiyo CD, tulienda huko hivi rooftop nikafeel mini nameless. Video ni 50,000. 50,000 utatoa wapi? Kama 6,000 ilikuwa ngumu.
Na that's the cheapest.
Hiyo ni cheapest. Nikasema sinitengeneze kitu moja yenye itafanya ile cost ikuwe ndogo. So hapo ndio nikaland nikatengeneza equipment moja. Ndio kuja straight, check wewe uniambie ama iko straight. Tukiweka against the wall, we have a candle holder.
Change can be disruptive, but Business Daily has got you covered. Get evolving market trends, ingenious business ideas, and the latest tech content in the new market dynamic and exciting lifestyle content in the new normal environment. Business Daily. More possibilities.
Pishi by Nation Media Group brings you Celebrity Home Chef. This is a chance to nominate your favorite celebrity to get in the kitchen and showcase their cooking skills on TV. Simply head on to @Pishi254 on social media. Comment by tagging your favorite celebrity, and guess what? We might just make it happen. Tune in to NTV every Friday to catch the celebrity in action.
Welcome back to Your World. This morning, we're on a film set. We're looking at what COVID-19 has done to the film and production industry here in Kenya and around the world. And I've got people who know what it takes to put a show on air. With me here in the studio is Moniki Mageria, CEO of Riverwood, an actor himself, very famous name and face. We also have Lucy Mwangi, who's in our fifth floor newsroom studio, also joining us. She's a producer behind the show Njoro wa Uba. We also had earlier Saksham Shukla, who's a Bollywood actor who has now gone on with his stuff. We let him go. Stella Antitu, an actress very well known in Uganda and a screenwriter who was sharing perspective from Uganda, who has also had to move on to do other things. But we still have with us Dr. Zippy Okoth, a filmmaker. And shortly, we'll also be joined by Joseph Warungu and Nick Ndeda. These are the people behind a new show that's coming up here on NTV, What's Good Africa. More about that in a moment. But first, to what the industry has done. And let me start with you, Lucy. Have you, what has it meant in terms of rethinking the model of production, how you still get to shoot Njoro on the road in the new normal?
I don't think we are so much on the road now, more like in the parking lot. But what it has meant is, by the nature of the show, like I had mentioned, it being the story of a taxi driver, the busiest time for taxi drivers are weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this because they have to pick people up from clubs. Now, with the curfew and the clubs closed, everything that he had written around that, we've had to go back and change the scripts. There's a lot more in terms of story that we have had to adapt, where we had scenes with a big crowd, for example, like Margaria said, where he's a bishop, and we had this pastor who's being excommunicated from a church because he's fallen in love. What that meant is I could not have the crowd kicking out the pastor. So how else could we communicate that without necessarily having to collect the number of people who are needed to bring out such a scene? So what it has meant for us as storytellers is to go back and think how else. So there are very many storylines that we've had to change, tweak, rethink, so that we can adapt to our new normal. And Njoro is no longer going much, picking people from the clubs so much. Neither are we picking people from churches. So we are just driving around, and most of our customers now are whining about the new normal. And I use the term whining loosely. So we've gotten interesting storylines that we've injected into the show that capture the reality of what it is that we are living.
And I'm assuming that Njoro has also been affected by the curfew.
Yes, it gets so bad, and without letting out too much, it gets really bad for him, like it has for most Kenyans, so to speak, yeah.
All right, Zippy, back to you now. What are you working on at the moment?
Right now, I'm working on some sexual and gender-based violence short films. I'm very passionate about gender-based violence. And this one I'm doing in partnership with Amnesty, and we will be having them out soon. However, at a personal level, I'm still doing short films. Me and my team, we said every month, as long as we have the time, we will come in. In our films, everyone is an executive producer. So you come and we shoot and we release it because it's what keeps us sane. Yeah, and a lot of times we really, when we can be able to put in the 2 weeks into that work, we shoot one day, social distancing, limited crew. Like I said, we are like only 7 or 8 most times. That is crew and cast. And we go on and we work on it 2 weeks, then we release. And we are going to do this as long as this curfew. However, on the other side, we also still have the LIP Festival coming up. I am the director of the Lake International Pan-African Film Festival, and we are going virtual this year. So I think it's going to be on November 4th to 7th, a week of panel discussions, workshops, and just letting the film industry engage and interact online all over the globe, because that's what we're here to do, telling African stories in whatever way.
Okay, and Margaria here says he's been watching some of your stuff.
No, I want to know where to watch them.
Oh, where to watch them?
Where do you release them? Where are you releasing them? We'd like to watch them.
On YouTube.
On YouTube?
Mwaniki. Yeah, on my YouTube page, Dr. Zippy Okot. That's where you'll find them. And I share them on my Facebook page, Dr. Zippy Okot. Those are the two main platforms. Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that LIP is still coming. The Lake International Film Festival is still coming, so I'm quite excited about that.
It is still coming, and Mwaniki, you should participate in changing the African narrative.
We cancelled Riverwood Awards. Riverwood Awards was supposed to be on 20th of June, so we cancelled that. So we have to do it next year.
Yeah, I know. With awards, it's hard. Yeah. Even for us, we don't know how we'll do the gala, but the panel discussions and workshops are like that one will still go on.
Now, Zippy, briefly on your film Midlife Crisis, I wonder what was the idea behind that? Because I know Kenya itself is in midlife crisis at the moment. But what made you come up with this film?
Midlife Crisis is inspired by real stories. So me and my friends, we sit. I am divorced. I have a friend who's a spinster, no children. I have one who is happily married, like really, truly happily married according to Kenyan standards. And then I have one who is... Then there's another one who is happily married because the society sees it that way, but the reality on the ground, she is not. Rich as crazy, but not. So we took all these stories and we said, let's turn it into a story. First, it was supposed to be 2 characters. Then we were like, no, let's add them. So here are 4 women, spinsters struggling for a child until she has to go for IVF, divorcees struggling with all the challenges of bringing up a children alone while trying to get a new life. And then we have got the happily married who has got 2 children. One is pregnant already, where yet she is a church person. What will the church say? What will people say? What will her husband say? And then we have so all these 4 women meet one day in one house because they have had one of them is in the hospital. So when they meet to help and console one of them, they realize, oh, this one whom I thought is doing well is worse. So generally, midlife crisis is about 4 women coming together and to console us that no one is in a better place. It's about accepting your situation and moving on with it.
Okay, now let me come back to you, Magere. In terms of going forwards, what stories will we be telling post-COVID? What will this industry look like?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think one of the things that we're seeing is that people want to be positive. We want to uplift ourselves. And I think the biggest onus that we have as filmmakers and as artists is to actually lift us out of darkness and put us on a more positive in place. I'm seeing a lot of positive writing coming out of different people, like what Zippy is saying. They take a situation and they try and put something positive out of it. What we did with Concert Nyumbani, with Eugene Bohu and our production company, using artists' music, dedicating it to people who are making a difference. You know, we looked at different people who are making a difference. A police inspector who's not seen his family for 3 weeks because he's out there on the curfew post, you know, waiting. People who are feeding others in the community, and people who are taking medical care to the inner, you know, to hardship areas, what we call slums and that kind of place. People who are taking care of children, making sure that they don't socialize too close, you know, so they're not spreading this kind of thing. So we need to start telling positive stories to be able to lift ourselves out of it, because the new normal really is that we have to beat COVID. We have to beat it in our minds, we have to beat it in our society, in our community, and we have to be able to transcend. And I think that's the kind of content that we're trying to see. When we were, our show, we have a wedding show, Our Perfect Wedding, that was cancelled because there are no weddings happening. So we thought, why don't we do something different? And there's now something called Story Yangu. We're looking at different personalities, tell their stories, and their stories are stories of success, stories of being able to ascend to the levels that they've ascended. So we want to see positive stories. Also, I'm seeing people using a lot of social media platforms, different platforms, apps, and different, you know, I've seen people like TikTok. TikTok is so famous now, anybody can do something small, dance a little, or, you know, crack a joke, and people want to consume that kind of content and be happy. Aziad is a good example, yeah. and I'm not a Kongo. And so on and so forth. So okay. I think we need to see positive stories coming out. And our stories, Kenyan stories now. We need to see a lot of Kenyan stories coming out, yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a new show coming soon on NTV. What's Good Africa is an arts and culture program highlighting unique artists and entrepreneurs across Africa. It will air on NTV Kenya, NTV Uganda, as well as the American Revolt TV, the leading voice of hip-hop culture, owned by Sean Diddy Combs. Now, joining us on the show today, Joseph, who's the producer of this show, and Nick Ndeda, the presenter, who is also an established actor, a very well-known face as well. And first of all, here's a taste of that show.
The fans are for real. Like, they're feeling you, they'll show you they're feeling you.
I'm just grateful. So I'm just like taking every opportunity as it comes.
Through her fashion, you might end up falling in love with her music.
Being African is more of like, it's a home, it's a place, it's a feeling, you know?
Okay, great stuff there. Watch it all here on NTV shortly later this month. But first of all, to Joseph Care, who is a producer behind this show. Joseph, good morning and welcome to Your World.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me join the show.
Okay, now that clip was really nice, but tell us a little bit more. What's this show actually about?
So the show, as you mentioned, it's an art and culture magazine, style of show, and we are highlighting unique creatives, artists, entrepreneurs across the African continent. But for this edition, we're actually starting with Kenya, telling stories about our people, telling stories about what's really happening in our country.
Okay. Let me cross over to your partner in crime, Nick. Good morning. Welcome to Your World.
Hey, thank you so much, Joseph. Two things, by the way. First of all, thank you for getting my name right. For some reason, people find it really hard to say Dada. Secondly, that is a nice shirt. Yes.
Wow, thank you. Because I'm surrounded by professionals, I'm taking this as a casting option. Lucy is looking out. So if you need an extra of a guy who'll just sit there and smile and say nothing with no lines, then you've got the guy here. But Nick, nice to connect with you. It's been a while. So tell me about the show. How has it been for you?
This has been a very transformative experience. The thing that I love the most about what's that is it gets to showcase, not because there's already a couple of very popular personalities, you would say, people in their certain trades. But what we're trying to focus on is putting a light on those, there are those artists who are very good at what they do, but they don't have that, I'll call it, a need to always want to be in front of everyone's faces to get their stuff out.
I tell you what, Nick, let me put you on hold because there's an echo with your sound.
Oh.
So don't worry, we'll come back to you in a moment. It sounds like we're speaking to 5 Nicks and I can only see one.
Oh,
so give me a moment as we try to fix that. But let me see if I can cross over to Josephat. Josephat, I think we can hear you okay, if you can hear me well. Okay. Oh, are you not? No, they're in different locations, I'm assuming. Okay, please hold on. Josephat, just hold on. We're coming back to you in a moment. Africa is good. NTV is also good, so stay on the line. Lucy, to you for a moment. In terms of stories for the future and content ideas, what do you foresee coming once we can, I wouldn't say COVID is over, but once we can live with it comfortably?
Okay, this is an interesting conversation I was having with one of my writers yesterday. We were looking back at what people were watching during the Great Depression, and apparently people there was no money, there was a depression going on, but the movie industry in the US flourished at the time. So the question we were having was, were the people looking for an escape from the reality that was their life? And when they went to watch these movies, what were they watching? Were they watching movies that were reflecting on what it was that they were going through at the time? Or were they there to watch something that would make them forget what they were going through? So we're trying to discuss what kind of content moving forward we should try to create. Should we do shows that are a reflection of the situation right now? Or should we be looking for content that sort of takes us away from our reality and maybe gives us a new, like shows us what life was or what life will be, sort of like an escape. So we are yet to reach an agreement. But I will be honest and say that COVID has given us very many story ideas. There's discussions we are having about a film or a series of short films, sort of like an anthology of different movies that tell the COVID stories from very different realities for different people. So it has sparked a creativity in a sense, and we are excited about what we'll be able to put out in the next few months. But on the plus side, Joseph, let me just mention this. Like Margaria said, that he's been home more and is able to watch more content. the good thing that has maybe come out of this for us is our numbers in terms of viewership has grown, because I will go onto social media and I will find people having a conversation. Oh, I've just discovered this show on this platform. I didn't know this show existed. And there'd be people asking, on what platform can I watch it? And so many people who are saying now that they are watching local content because they have a little more time. And our numbers in terms of viewership for both Njeroa Uba and Anti-Boss has really grown, and we are grateful for that.
Okay. Yeah. And Mageria, you're saying we need actually now more local content.
Yeah, we need to actually tell our stories. I've noticed people want to hear their own stories now. And I'm challenging the broadcasters now. Yes. We need to reduce the amount of time we're giving to Mexican soaps and Filipino stuff. We need to start doing a lot more of our own stuff. And one of the things I think the models that can work is, putting product placement and coming up with a formula that works for the broadcaster, for the advertiser, and for the producer as well. I think those are the kind of things that we need to start thinking through, because truth be told, in another 10 years, we might be talking a very different story with free-to-air. Because right now we're seeing apps are taking over. We're seeing online is OTT. You heard about them releasing the film Patni. Mm-hmm. They release it on OTT. They do not release it on free-to-air. So those are the kind of things that you need to start thinking. How do we start working together so that because we are all players in this field. Let's work together to be able to move it to the next level and to tell Kenyan stories, African stories. I'm so excited about this new show that Kina Joseph are doing. That's going to be, epic. And
for you, what's in the pipeline? What are your thoughts?
We're looking at Foods for Africa. Right. Foods of Africa, because I'm in food, I'm in the food. I love food.
How did you cross over from creative to food is also...
It was a lot to do with Eugene Bogwa. He saw me talking somewhere and said, this guy can be a good host for my show. We started off with Get in the Kitchen.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to work in food. By the way, I wanted to be a chef when I was in Form 2. So this was an opportunity. It's like God just brought all that experience back. And one thing I've noticed as I've gone around the country with Foods of Kenya is how diverse, how beautiful, how welcoming the people of Kenya are. And how they're so willing to share themselves. Even if they're very little, they would share, we'll sit on the floor, whatever it is. People are willing to share their experiences. They're willing to share what they have. And that's why I know we'll beat COVID, because we are resilient people. We share what we have. We are innovative. We want to do, we want to be working together. In fact, they say if you want to go far, work with others.
Yes.
And that's what we like to do, working with others. So I think that is the kind of content we need to see. I'm glad that what you're talking now as NTV is content that is reality. So people are telling their own stories, like what Akina Joseph are doing. Let's keep doing a lot more of that.
Okay, and talking about Joseph, I think he's back now, and maybe we can continue our conversation. Now, Joseph, with your new show, P. Diddy is not someone that you just pick up the phone and say, hi, how are you doing, man? So how did your show end up in his territory?
So, Joseph, it's been a long conversation. It's not something that actually started like yesterday. We picked up a phone and did that. So it's been a conversation we've actually been having, our team since last year. Because we've been always wanting, to tell our stories, but also, sort of export our stories to the other markets and have a foot also in that market. And because there's an interest, in the other markets in actually getting to feature stories that come from Africa in a more authentic way, meaning that it has to be done by the people themselves. And so the conversation started last year, wanting to feature a show that's talking about Africa, talking about the creatives in Africa, African stories. And of course, they don't say yes at the moment. They always want to have like a proof of concept. And so we started production last year when we did the pilot and actually presented to them. And then after conversations, we actually started when, we signed the contracts and everything, we started the production, in January. So it's been like, a journey just to, number one, to present the story and also, have them in a way believe that we can also produce, world-class content and authentic content.
Now, it's a great thing, great pride for all of us Kenyans, seeing our staff reaching that level, basically exposing it to American audiences. What has the process been for you creatively?
One thing I'm really proud of is my team. You know, I have a team of close to 10 people. We are, we are creatives, I'd say. We do technical and creativity. And so the thing is, was like most of us, have a background, from our communities. We interact with people. And some of the stories actually we share are people we know, people we meet every day, we talk to, friends and all that. So the process was, how can we translate these stories? Because we might have an assumptions like, because they're everyday people we meet, everyone knows about them. How can we package these stories, these people we know, on our day-to-day lives? How can we package them to be content that also can be exported to the other side? And I'd say it's been challenging because sometimes, you meet people, you actually invite them to be part of the project, but not so very many people actually believe in that. When you say it's going to be a show, it's going to be on an international platform, not very many people actually believe that. But I'm proud of, the few people we're actually able to cover the stories, which I believe they're actually authentic and good stories, to actually being able to feature on this. So it's been an interesting, process.
Okay, and now your plans is to go across Africa as well, capture stories from around the continent. Where is your starting point? Do you have people in these places? How are you going to do that?
It's a collaborative process. So we're starting with Kenya because Kenya is home. So the first edition is the Kenyan edition, and we are really keen. I mean, when it comes to the whole show, it's What's Good Africa, but this is the Kenyan edition. So that, the whole narrative is not like, oh, so everything that was shown on the first season is everything about Africa. No. So the first season is Kenyan edition. And, we have partners, within East Africa that you're collaborating with, thanks to, NTV, coming on board to be one of our main distributors in East Africa. And our plans is also to go, to West Africa also, work, that's the second season, hopefully work in West Africa, Nigeria and all that regions. And also, work in the southern region of Africa. So it's a collaborative process. It's not just, What's Good Studios going, but it's collaborating with other, distributors and also, creatives in these other regions.
Okay, just stay with us as we try to reconnect with Nick. Let me come to you, Lucy, for a moment. Now, looking back as a creative person, what lessons have you learned personally, even in terms of as a professional, along this COVID journey or the pandemic season?
I think my biggest lesson has been a lot of these things are beyond our control. Because at the beginning of the year, I had a work plan that captured the entire year. We start production on these dates. We wrap production, we are in the edit on this day. There was a plan. Then COVID happened and everything went out and we had to sit back and rethink so many things. So my biggest lesson has been in terms of now we have to think more on our feet and just how adaptable we have to situations. Like I mentioned, now we are having to work with stories that work within the reality that we find ourselves in. Something I forgot to mention is, with the curfew now, I cannot film past 9 p.m. Actually, we have to finish production early so that people get home before curfew. So the reality of our story now is our cab driver operates during this time, but there's scenes that we cannot avoid and we have to shoot them at night. So sometimes that has meant like having the crew stay overnight so that at the break of curfew at 4 a.m., we are able to shoot for 2 hours just before daybreak so that we can be able to get those night scenes on the road that we desperately need for the story to come together. So we've become adaptable, and moving forward, I think even as storytellers, we are working with a reality where anything can happen. But when that happens, how else do we do this? How else do we tell these stories? Okay,
so some question to you. Thanks, Lucy. What have you learned, even at a personal level, through this pandemic season?
Some of the things I've learned, I've actually relearned to be a producer again, having to do the work that I had stopped doing a long time ago. Nuts and bolts work, getting down to the grind, as it were, working with the crews and trying to double up in not only being a presenter, but also being behind the crew and doing some things, because we have to cut down on the number of people that we're working. That's been quite interesting. It's interesting because I would rather be out doing something than being at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's been very interesting. It's been a good learning curve. Then also learning that people can be very understanding and accommodative when there's something that an outside enemy.
Something bigger than us.
Yeah, bigger than us. People really pull together. The kind of teamwork that I'm seeing people putting, and even I worked on as I said, Joro, the team. You can see how they're working together. Everyone is trying to cover up for everything for other people who would have been there, but they're not there now, so they're doing double work. And I think that's something that I've been able to see, that people are very, they can adapt very quickly and learn that, you know, this is not, it's not because we want it, it's that's the way it is. And at some point I would like to talk about distribution, but
we'll come back to that in a moment. But yeah, thanks so much, Magere. Now, we'll take a short break. Your World will be right back with more on the film industry in Kenya and elsewhere.
Various institutions have reported over 800 million units of unclaimed shares among other assets. To find out if you are an owner or beneficiary, dial *361# or visit www.ufaa.go.ke.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Pata smartphone mpya kuanzia 20 bob daily pekee ukilipa mdogo mdogo. Weka down payment ya 1000. Lipa kuanzia 20 bob daily kwa miezi 9. Piga *544# kuona kama unafaulu kupata 4G Neon Ray Pro. Si hapo Safaricom ni yako kabisa.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
1, wake up, wake up. 2, brush up, brush up. 3, smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong tea. Smile through your day with a fresh breath and strong tea.
Do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate and give yourself a future to smell about.
Okay, welcome back to Your World, and this morning we are looking at the world of cinema, seeing what COVID-19 has done to the film and production industry here in Kenya and elsewhere. We have Mwaniki Mageria, CEO of Riverwood, here with us. We've got Lucy Mwangi, producer of Njoroa Uba and other shows. We were joined earlier by Shaksam Shukla from India, but he's moved on. And then Stella Nante also joined us from Kampala. We have with us as well Dr. Zippy Okoth. a filmmaker, producer, and lecturer. And we have also just shortly earlier on just been joined by Joseph Warungu and Nick Ndeda, who are the people behind What's Good Africa. We'll be having that conversation, continuation of it in a moment. But first, cinemas in Beijing are shyly opening their doors after several rounds of disinfection as hundreds of cinemas reopened in scores of other Chinese cities on July the 20th, following nearly 6 months nationwide shutdown due to the coronavirus. One Beijing cinema seeks help from volunteers of the Beijing Blue Sky Rescue Team, a non-governmental humanitarian organization who've been helping private organizations with disinfection amid the COVID-19 outbreak. Wow, that's what it takes to get a cinema hall back in action. Now, the Grand Rex, a Parisian complex with 7 screens since 1932 and among the largest in Europe, closes in August for the first time in its history. Due to the health crisis, cinemas are experiencing a significant drop in attendance and are suffering from the absence of blockbusters. It's a help for the cinema, it's a help for culture, and then it's a personal pleasure to be able to go back to the cinema. So it's true that it's both a help for the cinema and, you know, personal pleasure as well, I say. Now, taking advantage of not being on lockdown, the Uruguayan media industry is seeing a sharp increase in its activity. Following requests from other Latin American countries paralyzed by the pandemic, the winter season for the country's production companies is similar to a high season usually happening in summer. Melissa Ballerini, executive production assistant of Oriental Films, says Uruguay is today the only country in Latin America that is able to film, and that means that many clients from other places who have adverts to film come to Uruguay and have producers here to organize all those productions. Now, dozens of people attended drive-in cinema that began operating at the racetrack that usually hosts the Mexican Formula One Grand Prix, suspended this year because of the pandemic. Juan Manuel Bedwell, public accountant, says this is something we didn't expect, but we also need to get out of it, because if we continue to shut ourselves in, we get more depressed every day. But we who are already, you know, a little bit adults have lots of confinement. It's good to go out from time to time, he says. Okay, now, Zippy, if you're still with us, your thoughts as well on going forward. What kind of stories or content do you think we're going to see post-COVID or COVID? I think we just have to live with it now.
I think I believe in telling real stories, so I believe people should focus more on telling real stories, whether positive or negative. It's about the real stories, because film, performing arts should be a reflection of real life. So if we're telling the real stories, we can't also stop talking about the current domestic increase in gender-based violence. We can't stop talking about the plight of the citizens. We can't stop talking about the people who've lost their jobs. So we need to talk about the people who've lost their jobs. We need to talk about where are they picking up. So we need to look at the reality on the ground and put that into picture. I think audiences really love it when they can see themselves or a reflection of themselves on picture, and I think that's the way to go. And keep it African.
Okay. And Zippy, because you're on a film set, may I ask you to move to the left a little bit so that we can center your picture? You know, we have directors and producers. A little bit more to your left. There's a bit of space. No, too far. That's it. That's
okay. Good.
Okay, that's perfect. Now tell me, one big. No. You've gone too far now. Yes, that's it. You know, I've got a director and I'm the assistant director, and I've not been trained in these things, but we do. So, a quick one. Big lesson that you've learned for you yourself at a personal level during this pandemic, or even at a professional level for you, Zippy?
For me, I have learned to reimagine the possibilities because there's so much possibilities. As a writer, I have not written for quite a long time, and right now I have got scripts and I can easily produce that. And so there's so much we can do. There's so much we can't do. So let's look at all those possibilities. If this one closes, one door closes, there's always another one that's going to open. And but one thing also like to tell our filmmakers: talk to someone, performing artists, talk to someone, because a lot of us we live in the cloud, not in a bad way, but that's how we are created to live in the cloud, to live at the spot at this and under the spotlight. But right now the spotlight is off. What do we need to do? Let's be able to talk to people because creatives are getting depressed and stressed for many reasons. When the spotlight was on, we were not getting paid. Now that the spotlight is off, you can imagine it's worse. So let's talk. Let's imagine the possibilities. Let's like Lucy was talking about, people are now doing two things at a time. Think of what else can you do beyond what you do. If you're an actor, think I can act, I can do AD, I can help in production design. Do more than one thing.
Okay.
And if it hits rock bottom, sell those potatoes.
Okay. Mogeria says he's...
We're selling cakes now, man.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to do other things. In my family, they bake a lot, so it's bread and cakes. Tunauza bana.
Okay, ukiondoka kwa set kama mambo it's not working. Potato is another film set. Okay. Nick, back to you. How has it been working on What's Good Africa?
Such an amazing experience it's been so far, because I have personally had the opportunity of meeting people who I couldn't even believe live in this same Nairobi that I do. Because the show isn't just, first of all, it's not, because some people might think that it's just about pushing musicians, but it's about celebrating art in general. I mean, we're looking at fashion, we're looking at design, we're looking at visual artists, graphic artists, all that. And given how different every single guest that we've had on each episode has been, it's so mind-opening. One of the things that we do, and what's really unique about this show, is it's not the general kind of interview. You just sit down. So tell me about your life, A, B, C, D. It's not like that. It's delivered in a very funky, a very fresh way, and we got the opportunity of getting every single guest to not just talk about what they do, but go into the inspiration behind them, their lives. So we really get to not just showcase someone's craft, but we also get to showcase who they are, their beliefs, what they feel about being Kenyan, being African, being in Africa in 2020. So it's a whole lot of great information, and it's all very, very interesting to take in.
Nick, it looks like you're speaking to us from a film set.
Yeah, this is always where I'm at. I feel most comfortable in a set. In fact, I'm about to shoot a cartoon once we're done here. So yeah, hence why I'm here. This is going to be like a very cool outer space thing, feel.
Okay, without giving away too much, what's maybe a couple of stories that we might expect to watch What's Good Africa?
Ooh, because I do not want to give away too much, I will give away one, because this was one of my favorite interviews that we did. Met a lady who's a boxer. So she's a boxer, and she's I think she's 19 years old, okay? She's a 19-year-old boxer, and she can throw a punch. And the thing that got her to becoming a boxer, like the motivation behind it, it's such a good story. You have to watch that episode to hear it, because it's amazing. Amazing.
We did not need the trailer, Nick. I think you're an animated trailer. Now, again, same question to you. In terms of looking at life after COVID or whatever will happen afterwards, what kind of stories do you see as Kenyans telling?
I think, first of all, because I always try to find the silver lining in everything. And with COVID and how it's affected the entire world, I keep telling myself, what's the silver lining in this? I found two. One of them being the fact that people have seen the need to reconnect. Like, as much as we're not connecting face to face, thanks to technology, a lot of people are now becoming more aware of each other, aware of the importance of community. So from this point going forward, it's all about coming up with stories that are reinforcing the idea of community, of being there for one another, of health, which is something a lot of us really used to take for granted, even just the basic health. So I think that's definitely something. And just like Zippy said, all about making it African. Have you seen how the outside world right now is so focused on Africa? Like even from musicians, we've got, I mean, shout outs to Beyonce. That is a whole different debate for another day, but I will say this, the light, what Beyonce did, for example, is just like showing that, you know what, if they can take so much pride in African culture and they're in America, right? How about us over here? We live this every single day. All we know is Africa, because tulizaliwa huku. This is our home. We need to be more proud of our stories and just push them out there, because clearly everyone outside of Africa is very interested.
Okay, Nick, thank you. Stay with us. Now, to you, just for a moment. And again, what has been your biggest learning both as a creative and even as a person through this pandemic season?
I think one thing the pandemic has actually taught us is like there is an appetite for new content. That's something I've learned. There's an appetite for new content because right now everyone is at home. Everyone wants to, watch something. And so that's a challenge to us as creatives, like even as we are trying to adjust and adapt to this new, current situation, we also need to continue creating stories. Continue telling the stories that people want to watch. And right now, people have a variety of options to choose. So we have to, be in a position where if you're saying you're telling African stories, then we have to tell them in the best way possible. In the best way possible in terms of their authentic stories, but also in the best way possible in terms of their good quality that, are not just stories that when someone says, this is just from Africa, it's something that actually meets the international standards.
And maybe, Shadrach, just for the other thought that comes to mind is, as you're explaining how long it's been in terms of the conversation you've been having with Revolt TV, P. Diddy's people, almost 3 years, that if you want it really bad, you need to be prepared to push and wait for it. Good things come to those who wait and work.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, you always have to push yourself further. You always have to push your limits. You always have to want more. You always have to be open to be wanting more. And that's thing, I've always learned throughout this process of production. You don't have to limit yourself and say, because, I'm Kenyan, I can't be able to access, certain markets in certain regions. Like, I'm really proud that, the show is going to be on Revolt, but also, local here on NTV. But not just, in the Americas, but also in Europe. So the thing is always as a creative, push yourself and also try to make yourself reach out to the other side of the world.
Okay, now, Magaria, let's talk about, we're saying there's an appetite for content. What about distribution in terms of pushing out this content? Your thoughts on that?
First of all, I just want to commend Joseph for that particular effort, for taking the show beyond the African borders. I think that is something that is really, really commendable, because we went to Cannes last year with Eugene, and we were trying to sell Kenyan African content. And they were so surprised that there was content of that quality coming out of Africa. Like, you did this? I said, yeah, we did. They were very surprised. Africa was not on the menu, on the table. But when they started seeing that, they said, oh, something coming out of this place. And as Nika said, there's an interest in Africa. So we need to look beyond Africa. We have some content on the Africa channel in America. In India, we have got some content. We've got Indian content in Australia. And that's the whole idea. Get African content outside. Talking about distribution, Zippy was about to launch in a cinema. It was going to be a nice cinematic premiere with black tie affair, really beautiful. And that was cancelled because cinemas are closed. And I know I was even going to watch Luanda Magere by Kwame Nyong'o, and even that was cancelled. Even there was going to be the elephant film, and the first lady was supposed to be there. I was the only person there, and the askari asked me, kwani unafikiri mkubwa anaweza wacha mke wake akuje during COVID? And it was cancelled as well. So I think we need to look at different platforms, OTT platforms, for be able to distribute. We have a film that one of our members, in fact the chairman of Riverwood, has created. It's called Uradi, and we wanted to do a cinematic release. But the cinemas are not yet open, and in fact I talked to some of the distributors, and they're actually trying to lobby the government to come up with SOPs, standard operating procedures, for cinemas to actually open, because they need to start making money. And Hollywood is launching in September. Hollywood is opening up releases from September. So we need to be able to catch that wave as well. But so do the Kenyan movies as well.
Okay.
So we're having a problem with cinemas because they're not opened. But I'm finding that platforms like OTT platforms and
for the uninitiated, OTT
yes.
means?
Oh, okay, over-the-top platforms that you can use on the little boxes that you have at home. That is over the top. So you connect through. That's Netflix uses that. In Kenya we have my movies Africa, run by Trushnar and Steve and Mike Strano. That is one of the things we're trying to push to get our content on, so that we can be able to, over the top. Like you guys have got ADN. We come onto ADN and we be able to get people to watch that over the top. And then, of course, don't forget there's also on social media platforms like YouTube and others. Do you remember when Kenya Film commissioned some filmmaking in their last quarter? That was shall I call it a shot in the arm for the film industry, because they gave us money to make movies. A lot of my members actually made movies about COVID, and there was a competition about COVID. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about, and distributing through the different outlets.
To you, Lucy, you've been in the industry for a while, quite experienced. There are young creatives, potential filmmakers watching this. Your thoughts to them?
I'll reiterate what you said, Joseph, when you mentioned to Joseph that the conversation has been having for such a long time. And I think for the industry, what we need, or rather what I can tell upcoming filmmakers is persistence. This industry can be very, very brutal, and it takes a very long time for any person in the industry, be it a producer, an actor, a director, to actually be in a position where you command some audience from the people who matter. But you cannot afford to give up. Like I said, we pour of ourselves into art, because for most people who venture into this, it's a passion. So do not give up on what it is that you believe you can be able to achieve. Be persistent, be patient, and never stop putting in the work.
Okay. And to you, Zippy, drive-in cinemas, is that an option? Should that come back soon?
Yeah, we've been imagining that because of social distancing, we can have drive-in cinemas, but we are hoping that the president, if he can extend our curfew, even weekend curfews, to 11 p.m., then people can be able to come and watch the movies from 7:30 to 9:30 and drive home by 11 p.m. So we are hoping for all possibilities that the government can be able to help us screen the films, because there's been a great growth of Kenyan films. Last year alone, I watched 11 feature films on the cinema. So I'm imagining how many are going to be released this year. So there's a lot of films. That's averagely one film per month. So if he opens up to 11 p.m., we don't even want the whole night. Then we can do drive-in.
Okay, and now Zippy,
tunaomba serikali.
Tunaomba serikali inaangalia hiki kipindi, bila shaka itakujibu. Now, for you, Vicky, you're also, sorry, beg your pardon, yeah, Zippy.
Zippy, it's okay.
Yeah, by the end of this, I'll call you Tippy. I don't know what. But now, seriously.
It's all right.
You're a teacher. There are young filmmakers watching this. Your tips for them?
My tips for them, never lose hope. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. It doesn't matter. Use your phone, use your cameras, and team up together. Create that clique or whatever name you want to give it, but work in small teams and create something, because the moment you stop, that's the moment you go down. So keep doing it.
Okay, and back to you, Nick, as we prepare for What's Good Africa here on NTV, what should our viewers look out for?
They should look out for something that will be inspiring, very, very entertaining, and over and above, I think it'll be something that will challenge us as consumers. I say this because really I must give a big shout out to the crew behind this show, because from the filming to the editing, like how it looks. One of the things I love the most, when we started putting out the trailer, everyone was like, wow, hii kitu imeshutiwa Kenya. Seriously, like, you know, everyone's like, we can't believe something of this caliber has been done right here in your backyard. I'm like, yes. So I like that it will challenge consumers and they will demand for better content, because see, we always take in such rich content from outside, but when it comes to Kenya, we just like to, it's like some people are okay with the bare minimum. So I'm like, we were completely changing that narrative and bringing you something that'll make people be like, yes, we know that we can do better stuff, so they'll demand it. And you know, when people want really good stuff, it puts pressure on the producers, and thus we shall have like, it'll be an improvement all round. Okay. So that's what I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, and to you, Joseph, as well, what do you want to say to the NTV viewer looking out for What's Good Africa?
I think they should look out to, you know, as Nick said, inspiring, you know, rich content, but also in terms of also celebrating, you know, these artists, our people, also watching them and celebrating their stories and getting to, you know, learn more about what we actually do here. So people should actually look out for that. But also in terms of making sure also these stories actually reach out to the community, there's something I just want to talk about. In collaboration with Kenya Film Commission, and Slam Film Festival, we're thinking, you know, just doing like small targeted community screenings in different parts of Nairobi to be able to celebrate some of the artists that were actually featured and come from these regions, so that, you know, they are celebrated as the heroes that come from these communities. So we are doing all we can just to make sure that also our people locally in the hoods, Nawapi, they get to watch these stories and actually celebrate them.
Okay, thanks a lot, Josephat. Josephat, again, your word to vijana ambao they are upcoming in terms of production and film. Any thoughts from you for them?
I think I've worked with vijana for a long time. I mean, back when I was in Kibera Film School, Slam Film Festival, what I tell vijana is like, continue creating. The platform is all there. Zippy has said, use your phone, anything, continue creating and collaborate. You know, there are so many people, there's so many stories out there. So don't just sit to say, hakuna chenye nitafanya. There are so many platforms. Do something, post it on YouTube. All these platforms are out there for you. So continue creating and collaborate. There's always something you can do.
Oh, okay, now thanks, Josephat. For you, Magere, in terms of drive-in, is that an option?
Yes,
in terms of
drive-in is definitely an option. One of them, I think, is now, the one in Mombasa turned into a container depot. Bellevue, I don't know what they're doing with it now. It was a church, the Mavuno Church for some time. And then the one on Thika Road has never, it's just been left like that. I talked to Trushna, Trushna Shah about what it would happen. She works with Crimson, and she's the #1 distributor in Kenya in terms of distribution of films. And she's trying to talk to the family that own that place to open it up again, because drive-in is a very big wave. In fact, I'm hearing that different malls, there's a guy called Kapchie. He's Kapchie Management. He's actually going to malls and asking them to turn their parking lots into drive-in cinemas in the evening. Because people are, you know, there's less traffic in the evening. He's asking them to turn them. So there's been one already that happened at Galleria, and we're hoping that that's something that can pick up. Use different alternative places where there's a parking. Turn it into a drive-in cinema. And while on that, by the way, you're also a producer. When are we getting back Top Story?
Top Story is coming back soon.
When?
Tunangoja kufilm the last, I think in the next 4 weeks, we'll be back. We'll be back on the road.
We can't wait to see that going on.
Itakuja tu. It's also a place where we're growing young people as producers and journalists. Now, let's exit your world for a moment to see what else is happening in the other world. Shanghai Disneyland reopened on Monday following more than 3 months of shutdown as China moves nearer to normality and Disney seeks to stem losses caused by the coronavirus. It comes on the same day that China has reported a number of new cases of the virus in Wuhan, the original epicenter of the pandemic. Wow, technology near you. Now, with circuses closed due to the pandemic, 4 clowns decided to put their show on the road, driving around Lima to entertain residents, spread joy, and make people laugh in exchange, well, for a few coins. Joshua Vargas, a clown, says in these times, circuses are not open because of the pandemic, but the project is to take the show to each of the localities, to each neighborhood in Lima.
Damos inicio con el espectáculo. Ahora sí, muy buenos días. No, buenas tardes, ya vecino, vecina. Quiero ver. Malabares.
Hiya, clowns mitani. Gold prices on Tuesday hit $2,000 an ounce for the first time, the latest surge in a commodity seen as a refuge during economic uncertainty. The precious metal hit the symbolically important benchmark near 16:15 GMT before retreating somewhat, then crossing the line again about 30 minutes later. Gold prices have been rising more than 30% this year as the coronavirus outbreak has weakened the economy and clouded the global financial outlook. Also weighing on investors were concerns about whether the United States will pass another spending measure to support the world's largest economy as it weathers a prolonged and deadly coronavirus outbreak. Democrats and Republicans in Congress have yet to strike a deal despite days of negotiations. Hiyo ni gold ya kweli. Japan on Thursday marked 75 years since the world's first atomic bomb attack, with the coronavirus pandemic forcing a scaling back of ceremonies to remember the victims. Survivors, relatives, and a handful of foreign dignitaries attended this year's main event in Hiroshima to pray for those killed or wounded in the bombing and call for world peace. But the general public was kept away, with the ceremony instead broadcast online. Participants, many of them dressed in black, wearing face masks, offered a silent prayer at 8:15 in the morning, the same time the first nuclear weapon used in wartime was dropped over the city. Speaking afterwards, Hiroshima Mayor Kazumi Matsui warned against the nationalism that led to World War II and urged the world to come together to face global threats like the coronavirus pandemic. The Scottish city of Aberdeen was placed back under lockdown on Wednesday afternoon amid a significant outbreak of coronavirus. Pubs and restaurants in the city were ordered to close by 5 p.m, while the city's residents were asked not to travel more than 5 miles from their homes. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, said 54 cases had been discovered in the city.
It's a tough one. I was looking forward to other things, going to restaurants, eating out, meeting friends, but I guess I'll have to wait again. You know, health comes first.
Well, I'm quite peeved about it because we've done so well for 4 months. That the youth, well, Scotland has done very well in the lockdown, and one tourist, shall we say, comes to the town, doesn't self-isolate, goes to the bar, and we're the ones who we're the ones who've now got to be in lockdown again because of it. I think it's terrible. Anybody who comes to the UK should self-isolate for 2 weeks, no matter what.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's not fair. I mean, we've already had one, and everything was supposed to be clear, especially in Scotland, because we were slower than England, and then here's this lockdown again. It's not fair. I don't agree with it, no.
I think it's quite a painful decision because, you know, we've been in lockdown for so long now and everyone's been, you know, really sad and like very, you know, not much has been happening really, and we've been happy to just get back out. So it's kind of a shame to like have to go back now, but I do understand the decision because I mean initially at the beginning, you know, we didn't go into lockdown like straight away and like a lot of people suffered because of it.
Okay, great lesson for Kenya there. If you treat this thing abnormally, lockdowns come, lockdowns go, there could be trouble ahead. Now, they help people in pain, solve emergencies, listen to complaints, collect donations, organize, and, you know, these local priests, these Argentine priests are saviors to the marginalized neighborhoods of Buenos Aires, and their role has only grown in light of the worsening economic situation during the pandemic there. Lorenzo de Vidia, a priest, says the social condition of the people becomes more visible, more noticeable, and also grows worse. And at the same time, the feeling of solidarity among the people, that thing that is the residents' DNA, which is what happens to the other, is my business, to deal with a lot of complex issues such as I don't have the money to pay the rent, I ran out of gas and we don't have money for that. In other cases, people who didn't before now ask for things are asking for things.
Buen provecho, saludos a toda la familia. 2 metros de distancia, por favor. ¿De Racing? De Racing, chao, que se vayan a Avellaneda. Son poquitos, son poquitos.
Okay, and as we come to the end of our show, I'll just take some quick comments from my panel of guests. I'll start with you, Joseph. You're currently on a film set. What is the new normal for working on a set?
The thing is, you just have to adjust. When it comes in terms of, you know, now the actual filming and production, you realize like you have reduced hours to work on something. So for us is, you know, once we are done with our creative, we just have to have like a rundown of what we exactly want to capture on that particular day because, you know, have few hours. You don't have that luxury of, you know, going on set and starting to figure out stuff. So that you have to have like, you know, a strict, like, you know, rundown of schedule of things you want to do, a short list and all that. The people actually, you know, I'd say have some time at the people actually doing post-production because, you know, they just sit, they can, you know, work for long hours.
Okay.
But for production, you just have to have like a, you know, a strict list and a rundown of things you're working on.
So, Josephat, 10 seconds each, starting with you, Nick. Parting shot in 10 seconds.
Catch What's Good Africa because you will see some very inspirational stuff. Shout outs to Moniki, Zippy as well, and Lucy. I'm a big fan, so yeah.
Okay, a professional there, kept to time. Hiya, Zippy, 10 seconds on the clock.
Reimagine the possibilities and get to my YouTube page, Dr. Zippy Okoth, because we have so much for you. And artists, keep it real.
Okay, Lucy, 10 seconds is very expensive on film, so off you go. Vicky, can you hear me, Lucy? No. This
Hello.
Waniki, closing thought, 10 seconds.
10 seconds for me is we need to be the architects of our future. This is an opportunity for us to reimagine our future and to be the architects of it. So I think that's what we need to do.
Okay. Lucy, you're a producer. 10 seconds of film is very expensive and I'm offering for you free of charge. What do you have to say? Last word.
Watch Njorowa Uber new season 14th of August.
Kweli unajua mahali pesa inatoka. Okay. Guys, thank you very much indeed. ZP, nitakuita mambo mengi hapa, Lucy na Josephat pamoja na Nick pale, and obviously Moniki Mageria here in the studio. Na wale jamaa wametujoin from Bollywood na ile Uganda tunahitaji Hollywood, kitu kama hicho. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, Wakaliwood. Yeah, now on Monday, we take a look at the leading causes of deaths during this pandemic, diabetes and hypertension. These underlying conditions are causing many of those who contract COVID-19 to lose their lives. Find out how you can improve your immune system to live beyond the condition. That's on Monday at 7. Before then, as always, there's a hot workout with our professional trainers at 6:30 at Tizi Nyumbani. Until then, have a good weekend, stay safe, and thank you again to all my guests. Na mkumbuke, angalieni sinema ikirudi, please, let's line up and support our local producers and content. Asante.